All right. Good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. It's going to be a short class. I'll try to wrap this up in like 30 minutes so that you guys have more time. I have three things to cover. The first one is kind of carryover from project one, so we'll quickly cover this and then I'll move on to the second one. Um, the first one is remember the project management tool. If you guys are using different ones, there's one called Trello that's also free for your project management needs. Otherwise, GitHub also has one which we used in the previous project, project one. Okay. If you go into your project two, for example, any directory, and then there is a tab for your project. Why don't I see it? Oh, there it is. So you go into your projects tab. Okay. You can create a Kanban board, create project, and then give your project, give your board a name, and then from the template you can select the automated Kanban board. Okay, this way you are going to get swim lanes, to be done, done, in review, and you can add those columns. Okay, for your issues, if you want to create those stories, remember you can go into your issues tab and then go ahead and create a issue as a story where you are saying as a user or as a developer or as somebody who's using your website, I want to do this so that I can do something. Okay, this is the format. You're going to create some issues. Once you have created them, you can go to your project board and those issues will show up on your right side and you can add those to your project board. Okay. Again, recommended. It's not part of the project or necessary, or you're not going to get any points docked for this one. But to me, it's just visualization that help you see what you're working on, what somebody else is working on. Just keeps everybody accountable, and everybody can see what the team members are working on, or how many tasks are done, and how many tasks need to be done. Okay. Again, if you use it in project one, I would recommend giving this a try. It does take a little bit of your time. Spend like a couple of hours creating as a team, creating all the issues that you think are going to come up, all your stories, put them on your board, and then go back and pull those tasks and see if you can complete them. Okay, it does takes a bit of time, maybe like 2-3 hours. As a team, you'll have to sit down. No coding, you just have to work on it, create tasks, and then so that everybody can look at it. Okay. Again, this is how you set up. Go into your projects tab. You can set up the board first. Okay, create a project. Select the automated Kanban board, and then for creating user stories or tasks, you would go into your issues tab. Okay, and create the issues over here. New issue. And then back in your Kanban board, they will show up on your right, and you can add them and assign them to whoever you want. Okay, If you're working through this, if you need help, I mean it's pretty straightforward. But if you need help, let me know after this lecture. I can sit with you if you're confused. But this is pretty much it. Okay. A couple of other things. Remember the daily stand up. It's part of your Scrum or Agile methodology. What we do in daily stand up is everybody, it's a 15-minute stand up. Everybody kind of goes through and answers three questions: what I did yesterday, what am I going to do today, and do I have any roadblocks or impediments? Okay. Again, this is not like a status meeting or anything. This is just an awareness meeting so that everybody in your group and you yourself know what's going on, who is working on what, and if they need to reach out to somebody, who is the person to contact you. Okay. And especially the roadblock section, if you have any roadblocks, please call them out in your daily stand up so that if somebody else has encountered the same issue, they can help you out, or you can reach out to somebody else and see if they can help you out and quickly get your code running. Okay. So those are the two things that I wanted to, that's part of the first thing that I wanted to cover from the project management perspective. Again, GitHub is the one. In the past, people have used a tool called Trello, Trello. If you are interested, it's free for the basic version, and I've seen a lot of people using it. It's called Trello. It's got a similar thing, more visualization. It gives you a effect of your post-it notes, so you can write on stuff and kind of shows up as a post-it note. Okay. Again, recommended. Give it a try. See if it works for your team. Well, it's going to work if you use it right, but give it a try if you are interested. Okay. Any questions related to this before I move on to the next topic? And it was kind of fast, but I know we have covered this in detail in project 1. So I just wanted to show you where these things are located. Any specific questions around it, or how do we do things, Agile, Scrum, any terminology? Okay. Yes. You have a question? Do you use Scrum in your work? Huh? Well, okay, so here's the good and the bad part. When I did Scrum, I like Scrum because it to me, I'm a very task oriented person. I need to have a task and I need to see the deadline. So Scrum says in 2 weeks you need to complete this. Kanban is like free for all. There's like no deadline, and my current company I'm using Kanban, and I become too lazy to complete. I'm like, well, I don't have a 2 weeks deadline anymore. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. So that's how it is. Scrum is a little bit more like I thrive in that kind of environment. So, but it depends on. Yeah, I would still I think choose Scrum. It kind of keeps me honest. Okay. All right. So if you were wondering, there's a difference. There's a terminology Scrum versus Kanban. If you're following Scrum methodology, what they say is that you have to divide your work in such a way that a single task can be completed in at most 2 weeks or less. Okay, so every 2 weeks you're going to break down that task in such a manner. If you think that task is not going to be completed in 2 weeks, this means Scrum says that the task is too big, so you need to break it down further. Okay, you break it down so in such a small quantity that you can complete the task in 2 weeks. The 2 weeks is kind of like a industry standard. Usually it's 2, 3, or 4 weeks. I have never seen anybody doing a sprint for 4 weeks. Usually it's 2 weeks. Okay, so you divide your task in a small portion that you can complete in 2 weeks time. After the 2 weeks is over, you would basically demo the work you have done. Okay, versus Kanban is you have a list of tasks that you need to complete, like 10, 20, 30. It doesn't matter what the size is. You are going to complete them as long as once they're completed, you're going to go back and pick the other task, go ahead and complete it, pick the other task and complete it, right? There's no specified deadline. The only deadline is your product deadline. Whatever your product owner or your company kind of says, oh, we need to roll out this product by December or January, that's the deadline. Kanban doesn't specify anything specific, saying there's no sprints, 2 weeks, or anything. Okay, those are the two big differences between those two things. All right, any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to show you something. Um, I know a lot of people. I was looking at the documentation for your projects. Almost 90% of the class has said they're going to use some kind of authentication. Remember, I suggested passport. So what I have done is, using our template, I have created a small project which uses passport. I'm going to give you the link. It works, and I'll show you how it works. This is on my GitHub. I'll share the GitHub link. So the examples that I did not find is, of course, using handlebars and using MVC model that we are doing. So I took our starter template, okay, and I created this project which completes the authentication part using passport.js. Okay. Now, it has all the details. Here's the caveat. I'm not going to go through the code. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to say anything. Good thing is I have added a MIT license, so it is free for everybody to use. The only thing is you need to understand what's going on. Okay. If you have been doing your activities, if you have actually looked at the previous handlebar activities and all, this follows the exact same methodology. So I'm not going to go through what the code does and everything. I want you guys to figure this out on your own. Okay. This doesn't mean you can't ask questions. Once you have gone through it, you can ask me questions that what's going on, but they have to be specific. I need to understand that you actually looked at it, you actually give you a try, you looked at the documentation. Everything over here is from the documentation. Okay. But all I have did is I have converted this into our starter template. I'll show you what it does and how it's working. The other thing is it's being deployed to Heroku. So this is my project which is getting deployed to, oops, clicked on the wrong link, on Heroku. Plus it uses the Travis CI as well. Okay, it runs the linter, it has everything in it. Okay, all these settings, all the code for that is present over here. Now, if you were using starter template, I did find some issues in the template. I'm not sure if you guys did. I did run into some issues. I fixed all of them in my code over here. If you were using, especially those issues are around setting Travis CI or Heroku. Okay, so all these configuration over here is working. I have verified it works. As soon as I push my code to master, my Travis CI build kind of kicks off. And if you look at my README as well, I have this badge over here which tells me whether my build is passing or not. Okay, all that code is over here. It's free for everybody to use. Look at, I'll share the link, I'll share everything. I create a README. It has detailed instructions, what packages I'm using. It has links to their documentation. Please look at each one of these packages is being used or required for passport for authentication. I would highly recommend using the documentation and reading why I'm using each one of them. Okay. Oh, we don't have access to the database. Let's see if this actually works. I just remember that our Wi-Fi connection blocks the JAWS DB connection, right? So oh, we'll see. Okay, so all that README has the link to my deployed application. The code is over here. As I said, I've added the license specifically, so it's free for you guys to use that. Um, the other thing is, if you guys looked at Passport, so Passport.js actually uses it's called strategies. So they have a lot of strategies. Strategy means, do you want to use Google authentication? Do you want to use Facebook, Twitter? They even have one for Instagram. Um, let's see what else do they have. Google Auth, Auth0, Twitter, Jot, Microsoft Azure, Spotify. They have like all kind of strategies. Okay. Now, the one that I have used in this example is local strategy. Okay, what does this mean? This means that my database is maintaining the username and password. I have not implemented this code using Google Auth or Twitter or Facebook. Okay, I have used this. And the reason I have used this is security is when you're doing authentication, it has to be done right. Okay, even if it's a group project, but this is how the practice starts. Okay, we should be taking security a little bit more seriously. Unfortunately, there's no like a lecture on security or using any of those things, so that's why I kind of created this. What local does is that you are going to store username and password on your database. Okay. The second reason I am doing this is because students tend to use this strategy where they create a username and password and they're storing in the database. But what they do is the passwords are stored as strings, like literally strings. I can open your database and actually see what that password is. Okay, so I have intentionally done this so I can show you that the database that I'm using, I have encrypted each of these passwords. So whatever email and whatever password that you choose, I can't actually see what that password is. Okay, so in my code, I'm using encryption, and it's from an npm package called bcrypt, and it has all the details in my README file. Take a look at it. So if you are using, please make sure your code has to be, and Passport JS kind of allows that, but your passwords have to be encrypted. Okay, by the time you are storing in your database, your passwords are converted using some kind of encryption. It's called a hashing technique, and that's how they are stored. Okay, when the authentication happens, your password that comes in that the user is trying to access is again converted, and it does the matching with the hash code. Okay, all of this functionality is in the code, and Passport provides you with it. Okay, but you need to make sure that your password are stored using some kind of encryption. Okay, now the second thing is when you send a password, when you try to log in, let's say I log in with, and this is pass one. I'll send you this link and you can test this one out as well. Um, let's see if this works. Okay, awesome. So if I'm able to log in, it brings me to this page. This page is only visible when I have logged in successfully. Okay, let me go back and log out so we can come over here. The second page that I have is you can go ahead and sign up. Okay, and this is also working. You can create, if you try to create one that already exists, you're going to get an error. Okay, so you can create an email, uh, a unique one which doesn't exist, and then sign up with that. Okay, just two things required, and this will sign you up to use this account, to use this web page. Okay, um, when it comes to authentication, when you're sending login, you are doing a post request. Okay, it's not a get request. You're taking email and password, and you are making a post request. Behind the scenes, you will see that there's a post API which sends a username and password. Okay, now how is that being encrypted? If you look at the URL, it is HTTPS. Okay, um, HTTPS ensures that anything that you are sending in your post request is encrypted. So if somebody is sniffing, if a hacker is sniffing into your request, all they will get is an encrypted request. Okay, but this is only possible if it is deployed using HTTPS. The good thing is Heroku temporary deployments, they deploy everything using HTTPS. Okay, if this was HTTP and you were making a post request and sending a username and a password, literally the strings will show up, and anybody who is listening to that request can actually pull the password and username out of it. Okay, but how is this being protected? We are using HTTPS. So when you send your password, when you send your email address in a post request, since this is HTTPS, it is encrypted, and when it gets to your server, it gets decrypted, and you have your username and password. Okay, so nobody in the middle can actually pull that request and see what's going on. It's encrypted. Okay, but again, this is only possible with HTTPS. Localhost, you don't have to worry about it, but when you deploy to Heroku, the good thing is if you read up Heroku's documentation, they're giving you free HTTPS if you create an app on their account. Okay, so again, this is, so let me send this. Well, actually, I'll send this my README, my GitHub link, and I'll add some more details for now if you guys want to open this. So this will open up over here, and at the bottom you can read through it, you can look at the code. I have all the instructions, how you would download, what do you need to change, how do you need to set this up. Okay, all the npm packages that I'm using. All right, and then this is the link. Okay, this link will take you over here, and you can create a login. For now, you can use test@test.com, and the password is pass1, or you can go ahead and sign up and create your own account and then come back and log in. All right, the only thing it does is for now is it shows you uh, the page. This page is only visible once you're logged in. Okay, now if I go back and refresh my page, you see it's still logged in. The reason is Passport maintains the sessions until you log out. This session is maintained. I think I have the session maintained for like an hour or something. I think it's like 6,000 or 60,000. Okay, so as soon as you log out, you will see that you cannot go back to that page without logging in. So if you go back to this page, it will bring you back to the login page. Okay, so all your pages have to be protected by your login page. Okay, and all of that code is kind of done for you guys. So please, if you are interested, take a look at it. Again, I'm not going to go through the code individually. I want to, but I won't. Okay, as much as I want to showcase what I have done, I won't do it because this probably is 1/4 of your project is like right there. You just it's even using the starter template. Your authentication is doing. All you need to do is just basically add your pages. Okay, but I would recommend go through the code if you're using authentication. If not, then this code is not for you. Okay, but I saw like around 80 or 90% of the proposal I saw were saying passport and authentication. Okay, again, this uses local authentication. It's not Facebook or Google authentication. All right, I'm going to try and see. You can follow this repository. I'm not sure if I'll get time to add more stuff to it. Um, I might add like a new page which shows, which makes a third-party API call or something, which is protected using authentication, or I might add Facebook or Google authentication. The only thing about those things are, especially for a class project, I'm always, when students give me Google authentication or Facebook authentication, I'm always kind of scared to log in. So this to me is a little bit better, and all the password are being hashed if you do it right. So I'm kind of fine that okay, nobody at least can see the password in their databases. That's the only thing. Okay, but I might add more authentication if I get time. But this should help you out with your authentication. Go through it, ask me questions, but please, I want to make sure that you have actually read the documentation. This is all over there. I have used the correct names, whatever technology they're using. Look at their documentation. It's pretty good documentation, and there are some good. If you Google authentication or API authentication using Passport.js, they have really good articles that come up. Okay. Any questions around this other than going through the code? Did anybody look at authentication during this time? You did? Too? Which one are you looking at, Chris? Passport or everybody is looking at Passport? Firebase? Okay. Yeah, I mean, you have different options. Passport is the only thing was it's a little bit more simpler. The setup is, if you look at the code, you will see it's all JavaScript based, but Firebase is also there. Any questions? Yes. Yes.
I mean, do you think that
No, no, no. It's not saving, but it's if you when you do a Google authentication, you will see it says you are giving permission to this app with everything. I mean, I kind of go back and revoke those access every time the class is over. But it gives access to. I mean, you have basically logged in with your Google authentication. So that's the only thing I kind of worry about. Hopefully that's not the case, but I don't know. I'm just maybe extra paranoid about it. Yeah. Yes. Right. Right. And again, it's not anybody's malicious intent. It's just some people are not aware what they are doing, and I'm like, okay, I just don't want that to happen. That's why. Yeah, but it will pull your name, email, and whatever public information that you have on Google. It will pull that information for you for the website that is using. That's how you see your name and everything kind of pops up over here with your picture and everything. So same with Facebook. It will give you your Facebook name or picture and everything. Yeah, yeah. On a student project. That's why. Yeah. I mean, I can go. I usually go back and check all my accesses and keep revoking them, but still. Yeah. But again, I mean, there might be some people like me. There might not be. That's why just make sure you provide some kind of authentication that doesn't use them. But if you are using Google Auth, that's also okay. I don't. Just give a test email address that we can access. Okay. Any questions around? Any other questions? Okay. All right. So last thing. Um, the next class is on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we don't have a class Thursday. We don't have a class on Saturday. So if you are traveling, please safe travels. If you're in town, have a good Thanksgiving. Um, I know it's time with families and everybody is probably taking a vacation. But please remember, I mean, take some time. But also remember that if you are working on your project, this is you don't have any homework due. The only thing is a project. It's a good time if you want to go back to your activities that you have skipped, you didn't get a chance just to catch up before we start the third part of the program. It would be a good opportunity to kind of catch up on everything if you get time. I would highly recommend it just for this holidays. Um, and then if you haven't updated your resume, your LinkedIn, please take this opportunity as well because as I said, the second part is done. You guys are practically once you are done with your project, even right now you guys are ready. And I would highly recommend start looking at jobs, start applying because by the time you get a response back, this course would be coming to an end. Okay, it takes a while, so especially the holiday season is kind of slow, but still kind of look up those postings. If you are already done with your resume, if you're done with your LinkedIn, please go ahead and start applying. All the foundation work, everything has been done. Okay, anything after project 2 on the third part of the program is what I think is additional or bonus. We will be using React, we'll be doing Mongo, we'll be doing a few more things. But if you know JavaScript, you know Node.js, you know HTML, CSS, those things are kind of in addition to those things. Okay, so please make sure you are updating your resume, LinkedIn. There are some career services meetings going on. Look at your calendar. If you are interested, please make sure attend. Those are helpful. There are a lot of meetups that go on in my previous cohorts. People used to go to those meetups. I would highly recommend going to it so that you can make some contacts, see what's going out in the industry. If they have positions open, you will meet new people. I don't really get time, and this is my meetup Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I don't really have time to go to those things. And to be honest, to me, the point where I am, I haven't felt a need to go. I'm okay, and just because of my experience, I find some luxury that I don't really have to reach out. But for you guys, especially people who are entering the industry, I would highly recommend going out to those meetups. See if you can meet up people from previous cohort, somebody who might be interested, somebody who has graduated. You will see that a lot of people get jobs by just by contacts, right? Oh, he was in my class or she was in my class. I'm going to reach out to them and see if there's a position open, and that's how many positions get worked also. Okay, so definitely keep those in mind. um, any questions before I end? Yes. Yes, next Tuesday. Yeah. Okay. Wow, out of all this, Josh is worried about the homework. That's good. Yeah, are you doing the optional one? Okay, awesome. That will help you with the sequelize if you didn't look at the homework. It's the sequelize one, right? Any other questions? All right, so happy Thanksgiving. Have a safe holiday. I'll see you guys Tuesday. I'm here, of course. TAs are here. Please let me know. Slack me, and I'll come to you, sit with you if you need any help with your project, review some code, or anything that I can help with. All right? All right, that's all for today.